After being unable to pass her $2.2 trillion stimulus package before the election, Nancy Pelosi announced this morning she now wants a $3.4 trillion deal. You're not going to want to miss today's video. Hello and welcome to today's November 12th second stimulus check update and second stimulus package update. Mitch McConnell increases his stimulus package. Nancy Pelosi super increases her stimulus package. Joe Biden's team says he will do executive orders within the first 30 days. And Biden's health advisor calls for a major nationwide lockdown. If you're a subscribed member of my community, then welcome back. And if you're not, consider subscribing right now. All right, now did anyone else notice that YouTube and many other social media platforms went black last night and were unable to function for over an hour? Kind of crazy. I don't know what that was about, but it definitely affected my channel. So now today, I'm going to try to lay out where we are at with stimulus checks and also this crazy stimulus package situation. I want to say up front that I try to remain unbiased on these updates. I try not to pick a side. If I'm too heavy on one side, I try to counterbalance that the next day with the other side. So I'm just here delivering the news and trying to save you time because it takes me hours and hours of research to find this stuff. But right now, it appears that the only thing that our government is good at passing is the time, right? This should have been done in July, and now it looks like it may be drawn out even more. But I want to get your input. So Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell have revealed their stimulus package size. Mitch McConnell originally said $500 billion. He now says he's willing to start at $650 billion and is open to discussion. Nancy Pelosi, after being unable to pass her $2.2 trillion deal and receiving significant pushback from her party members, has now decided that it's all or nothing on the $3.4 trillion HEROES Act. So the HEROES Act is now officially back on the table for Nancy Pelosi. Mitch McConnell said that he does not want to pass anything higher than $2 trillion. So if Nancy couldn't pass a $2.2 trillion bill before the election, how does she think that she's going to pass an extra $1.2 trillion for a total of $3.4 trillion? As I'm reading through this, I'm just trying to figure this out, right? The only way I could see this happening is if Nancy Pelosi takes the next 65 days and blames the Democrats for being too cheap, but holds out until 2021. She may be hoping that they pick up the Senate based on the Georgia race and that they pick up the presidential White House. Then they would be able to bypass Republicans on any bill that they wish to pass in the future. Senate Republicans have said that the United States cannot afford anything more than $2 trillion at this time. So you might have the same reaction as me. How are we going to do a $3.4 trillion, and how is that supposed to get done between now and the end of the year? I just, the math is hard for me, and the timing. I could see the math working out outside of 2020. So if that's the case, that makes me very sad because people don't need help in 65 days. They need help right now. But Mitch McConnell is saying, let's get a stimulus package we can all agree upon now, and then pass more stimulus if needed in the future. McConnell said that Nancy Pelosi's all-or-nothing approach is hurting the American people. So I'd like to know from my community, do you think Nancy Pelosi will be able to get a $3.4 trillion deal passed before the end of the year? Or do you think that this might be a sales tactic until Joe Biden is in office? Okay. Now, there's still a lot going on with the presidential election. And so there's also still a lot going on with the Senate election. But I'm just trying to think through this with my community. So let me know what you think in the comments. So essentially, Nancy Pelosi has just reintroduced the HEROES Act from the month of May that many Democrats in her own party said was full of unnecessary spending and a bill that nearly every Republican said was too expensive and full of pork. So the only way I can see her getting that through is if the Democratic Party controls all aspects of the federal government. Otherwise, I believe the Senate will just shoot it down. Now, if they are able to get the Senate, the House, and the presidential seat, we would still be waiting until the end of January for something to happen. Biden would need to be sworn in. They would have the bill ready to go, and then they would have to sign and execute on that. That's more than 65 days from now, over 2 months. So again, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just presenting the news to you. Now, this morning, Chuck Schumer of New York said that the HEROES Act should only be the beginning, suggesting to some that he might actually want to go higher than $3.4 trillion. I just personally don't see a $3.4 trillion deal happening before the end of the year, and I'm not saying that it won't happen in 2021. But the confusion for me is when you're negotiating in the business world and your position is 2.2 trillion and the other party's is 1.9 trillion, you don't just say, okay, we're now going to increase it to 3.4 trillion, right? Like it just seems very out of sorts. But maybe they know something that I don't. Again, I'm just trying to think through this with my community. Okay, now Joe Biden's team is saying that once Biden is sworn in, that he will immediately issue executive orders to increase minimum wage to $15 an hour. However, many have pushed back saying that he only has the executive order to do this on a federal level, which means only federal employees. If they were to change this on a state level, then some voices are saying $15 an hour would force many small businesses to go under, or would force them to lay off people and work with a smaller staff that they pay more. So that one's going to be a little bit tricky as an executive order. The other executive order, Biden is saying that they will forgive somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000 of student loans. Some say that this could be really great for those that are bogged down with student loans now, but it would be unfair to those who went to school in the past or in the future and could possibly cheapen the perception of a university degree. Now, in political news, Joe Biden's new health advisor, Dr. Osterholm, wants to do a strong nationwide lockdown and to have Congress pay everyone's wages to do it. Dr. Osterholm wants a strict lockdown to crush the virus. The next 3 to 4 months will be the darkest, according to him. Dr. Osterholm also said that the major holidays coming up that most Americans love will be nothing more than super spreader events, and that they will most likely try to block these family events from taking place. Dr. Osterholm wants to lock down the entire country for an undetermined amount of time and says that somehow the government will pay everyone's wages, all small businesses' incomes, and every medium-sized business's income. I don't know how they're going to pay. That is a mega amount of money, right? So I don't know how they're planning to pay for that. And also, if Republicans control the Senate, I don't know how he thinks that would get past the Senate. So again, until all areas of the government are in place, we won't really know what these proposals will, what part of these proposals will come to fruition, right? But if you think the CARES Act of $2.3 trillion was expensive and the HEROES Act of $3.4 trillion, now imagine shutting down the entire country, not just part of the country, for several months. Being in money and finance, I just don't know how they pay for all of that. But again, I'm just sharing what is being said. It's almost like they're saying, we'll give you money, but only if you allow us to make you stay in your house. It's kind of a weird situation there. All right, now let me know in the comments, do you think that a $3.4 trillion stimulus package can pass in 2020? Or are they just kicking the can down the road until 2021? Personally, I just wish that they would take the problem solvers deal that covered almost everything both sides wanted and provided for two stimulus checks direct to the people. I wish that they would look at that again. This is my update for today. As I know more, I will share more. I want to remind you that you are amazing. Please don't ever attach your self-esteem or your self-worth to government policies, okay? I want to thank you for being in my community, and I'll see you on the next video.